Good morning. I bring greetings from Atlanta, and I thank you for being here today and inviting me to speak to you. I expect my accent is very strange to you, so thank you for your patience. I speak to you this morning as an industrialist, the founder of Interface Incorporated, a billion-dollar producer of carpets and textiles and architectural flooring for commercial and institutional markets, as competitive and as profit-minded as anyone you know. I also speak as a fellow astronaut on Spaceship Earth, and I offer you a keynote for this conference, a better way to bigger profit. That, in fact, was the tagline on the Interface report to shareholders in the year 2000. Reflecting a conviction that our management team had formed after 7 years at that time of pioneering the process of sustainable development, or as we say at Interface, climbing Mount Sustainability, a vision in a nutshell. Mount Sustainability is a very, very high mountain. That point at its top symbolically representing zero environmental impact or zero footprint, defined for us by the system conditions of the natural step. If you don't know the natural step, I urge you to learn about the natural step. This zero footprint is the goal to which we aspire for Interface, to operate our petro-intensive company, that is for materials and energy, in a way that ultimately takes nothing from the earth, that's not naturally and rapidly renewable and does no harm to the Earth's biosphere, such as not another fresh drop of oil, no greenhouse gases, no harmful emissions. No other mountain on Earth is more important to the human race, and none is more urgently in need of climbing, not just by Interface, but by the entire modern industrial system if it is to survive. The opposite of sustainable is unsustainable. Unsustainable is terminal. As terminal for a civilization as cancer is for a person. An industrial system that takes and takes and takes its raw materials, food, water, air, fossil fuels, from a finite earth, makes its products in linear, abusive, wasteful processes driven by fossil fuel-derived energy, and sends its poisonous waste emissions, greenhouse gases, and used-up products to accumulate and eventually choke a finite biosphere. Finite biosphere simply cannot go on and on and on and on. What business, taken collectively, what economy does not utterly depend on the services that nature provides? Air, water, materials, food, and waste processing. Try to imagine operating a business without those. What would happen to that business or that economy when finite nature finally is overwhelmed by the system's cumulative abuse of those services? Business and industry are at extreme risk because of our own short-sighted, one might say unconscionable practices. Risk management alone calls for rethinking, redesigning, and reinventing the present system. That's the big picture and the overriding case for sustainability. Survival is at stake. At this point, not one company on Earth, not one, is sustainable. That is to say, able to meet its needs in its day without compromising in some way future generations' ability to meet their needs in their day. Nor perhaps is there one single product anywhere produced truly sustainably, that is, with zero environmental impact. But we're trying at Interface, and it's not to say that Interface is alone, but Interface is certainly among the most aggressive of the early movers, and we're finding it to be incredibly good for business. What began as the right thing to do quickly became clearly the smart thing to do as well. Doing well by doing good is a better way to make a bigger profit. Now, the casual observer would not see that statement reflected in Interface's public share price, for example, which peaked at $22 a share in 1998 and went all the way to $2, and now has recovered to around $8 a share. Nor would one see it in our sales growth or profitability over the last 5 years. Moving towards sustainability does not isolate a company from the vicissitudes of the marketplace, and our marketplace has been mostly miserable since the third quarter of 1998. The huge expenditures worldwide for Y2K, remember that, diverted a vast amount of capital, some of which would normally have been spent for the products that we produce for corporate and institutional markets. And after a brief rally in the year 2000, that marketplace was savaged again by the dot-com collapse, and then by 9/11 and the morass into which corporate confidence sank, culminating in the current worldwide slowdown or recession, just now recovering. From peak to trough, our industry, our marketplace, shrank 40%. Interface itself saw its sales decline 26%. We literally gained market share in this down market. Nor does climbing Mount Sustainability immunize a company from an example that happened to us, poor execution of an acquisition strategy that we have just dug ourselves out of. But there has never been one thought, not one, of turning back. Why? The pursuit has been the very salvation of our company during this most severe, protracted downturn in our industry ever. Just ask our customers, especially the architectural and interior design communities that so heavily influence our marketplace through their product choices, and you will find an extraordinary predisposition to deal with Interface because of its reputation for environmental responsibility. Goodwill like that has incalculable value, far exceeding what any amount of advertising could possibly have generated. Moreover, you can ask facility owners and managers, the end user customers for our products, whether green buildings and green products for their facilities are increasing in importance to them, and you will find an astonishingly powerful trend developing, especially in North America and Europe. An illustration of this is membership in the United States Green Building Council, the USGBC, an organization of organizations dedicated to advancing environmentally responsible building practices. The membership is soaring. Applications for its LEED, that stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, LEED certification, are being filed in exponentially growing numbers as building owners seek validation for their greening efforts. Now, if a trend like that were confined just to architects and interior designers and facility owners and managers, one could conclude, well, that's a pretty narrow segment of the economy. But two factors would make that conclusion quite wrong. First, the ripple effect of the construction industry throughout the economy is anything but narrow. Manufacturers from a wide range of sectors are affected by the construction activity. And second, it's not just architects and interior designers and facility people who are motivated to do the right thing, environmentally speaking. Paul Ray and Sherry Anderson, in their research, reported in their landmark book, The Cultural Creatives, published in the year 2000, have uncovered a surprisingly large segment of the population, 26% of adult Americans, numbering over 50 million, and like numbers in Europe, who also are strongly motivated in this direction. People crave authenticity in an artificial world. The power of the marketplace and the voting booth is vested in the people. And the power of this segment of people, having appeared upon the scene in just the last 40 years or so, is growing very rapidly. Business people and politicians alike would be well advised to pay attention to the phenomenal rise of this new force, which, when it finds its unified voice, which it has not yet, will speak in irresistible terms, shall we say, with an undeniable message. Survival, the market. If those are not case enough, what about people, products, processes, and profits? In the realm of soft issues, which ultimately drive all the hard results, the most unexpected, the most gratifying effect of our mountain climbing experience at Interface has been the buy-in of our people. The psychologist Abraham Maslow had it right when he said that people want more than subsistence or even development and advancement. They also want to be identified with a higher purpose. Interface's environmental commitment, more recently its social commitment, especially to education and to the communities where we operate, have positively affected both hiring and retention, and productivity as well. Better people are applying. The best people are staying and working with purpose. The financial value of that is incalculable. But all of us in business know that in the long run, people make the difference in any company's success or failure. After 9 years now of nurture, sustainability is in the very DNA of our company, as well as in our mission statement. Our core values support sustainability. Our people are galvanized by their shared higher purpose. You can't beat that for bringing people together. As for product, it would be difficult to overstate the positive effect when our product development people got it, and when they began to approach the creative process from the mindset of sustainable design. They tapped into a whole new, previously unimagined source of inspiration, biomimicry, to use the term created by Janine Benyus. Nature as teacher, nature as inspiration, nature as mentor. Our head designer asked, how would nature design a floor covering system? And new thinking in pursuit of the answer to this very curious question produced a product we named Entropy, a carpet tile product that in just a year and a half moved to the top of our bestseller list faster than any other product ever. In our textile business, TerraText, made from recycled PET bottles, has captured new OEM, original equipment manufacturers of furniture, right and left. As manufacturers of office furniture, our customers for TerraText have responded to those same interior designers and facility managers to which our carpet people cater. Our next quantum step in product innovation is to begin the transition to carbohydrate polymers, to start to replace the non-renewable fossil fuel-derived energy-intensive hydrocarbon polymers with renewable polymeric materials derived from corn dextrose by Cargill Dow's bioengineering process. Designing for sustainability not only brings this whole new dimension to the creative process, it conserves natural capital, nature itself, while it creates financial capital. One of our measures of progress in this dimension is the carbon intensity of interface. That is to say, the petro-derived material and energy processed through the entire supply chain to produce $1 of revenue for our company. The carbon intensity of interface has declined fully a third since 1994, our baseline year. The most immediate and lucrative face of Mount sustainability in the beginning was the elimination of waste, to drive the very concept of waste out of our business, out of every process, thus emulating nature where there is no waste. In nature, one organism's waste is another's food. We're about halfway to this goal after 9 years of chipping away, and we have saved $231 million cumulatively. That's hard dollars, real money, not a single soft dollar in that total. The savings have represented 28% of our operating income over this 9 years and have more than paid for all the rest of this revolutionary pioneering effort, including all the R&D and the capital expenditures. By the way, we call this effort EcoSense. Every day now through EcoSense, as we move beyond picking the low-hanging fruit of waste elimination, our linear take-make-waste processes, so characteristic of the entire industrial system as it arose out of the Industrial Revolution, every day these give way to waste-free, cyclical, and renewable processes. We've closed the loop on many of our material flows. We're working internally on technologies and externally with suppliers to close the rest. Recycled content sells. 91% of American interior designers polled recently actually favor recycled content. After an initial focus on energy efficiency, we have begun to deploy photovoltaics in a modest way to generate our own energy. Solar-made carpet, cells. We're contracting for green power in Canada and Europe. Our customers, the market, have embraced it. So we have been encouraged by the marketplace, and we have declared all fossil fuel-derived energy to be waste, therefore to be eliminated. Capping one landfill in LaGrange, Georgia, capturing its methane and substituting it in our processes for natural gas will create a greenhouse gas offset sufficient to make our entire $500 million American carpet business climate neutral this year. By concentrating on resource productivity, the productivity of all resource inputs, at least as hard as we concentrate on labor productivity, we're reinventing our company, making it far more efficient. Carbon intensity is a rather esoteric measure in conventional circles. Financial efficiency is another more accepted measure. Both of these are happening at Interface, and they are happening together. Pursuing sustainability has not made costs go up, they've gone down. And we're changing the game against our competitors with unprecedented products and with newfound efficiencies. Our customers support us. We're gaining market share in this down market. Our competitors are challenged to change too. So an entire industry moves towards sustainability. Our people are happy and motivated. Our suppliers are having their eyes open to new profitable possibilities in their own businesses. So supply chains are changing for the better. Our communities feel that we are of them, not just in them. We're giving back, not just taking. And our shareholders are going to love their investment when this recession ameliorates and profits soar, as I believe they will. Now that is a forward-looking statement with all the legal caveats. The industrial paradigm is shifting. When paradigms shift, the early movers win. Interface stands to win big, and that too is a forward-looking statement with all the legal caveats. Now, what about purpose? What I have found most difficult to understand is this: why don't more CEOs get it, with their minds if not their hearts? And maybe I can venture to answer my own question. CEOs come in three types. There are those who founded their companies, there are those who inherited their companies, and those hired to run their companies. The average tenure of the latter is only about 10 years, I'm told. Time horizons are very, very short for this type CEO. Long-range planning is maybe 5 years. Therefore, a truly long view, much less a sense of legacy, is rare, if not non-existent. For the most part, it's only amongst founders and sometimes inheritors that a sense of legacy has surpassing importance. And maybe that explains why we have such a terrible, short-sighted legacy in the present system. The system has been getting more and more this way, extractive, linear, abusive, wasteful, since Thomas Newcomen's invention of the steam-driven pump in 1712, the dawn of the industrial age. And as Harvard biologist E.O. Wilson says, the industrial system is replete with advances that made total sense in the short term, but cumulatively have been disastrous in the long term. But a new industrial revolution is happening, and is happening right now, and it's ushering in a new era of renewable, cyclical, benign, and waste-free industry. Finally, the possibility is emerging for us to leave a long-term legacy of sustainability to our grandchildren's grandchildren, for which they will thank us rather than curse us. Risk management, survival, markets, people, products, processes, profits, purpose. What else is there? Surely these are the basis of shareholder value, and they make the case for sustainability. All of these are enhanced by intelligent and mindful appreciation of place, this rare and beautiful blue planet upon which we're all astronauts, spaceship Earth. An appreciation that produces a keen awareness that beyond success lies significance, and beyond the necessary profit lies noble purpose. As Interface's founder, chairman, and for 28 years CEO, now ex-CEO, I can say to all who will listen, it's a better way. Try it. So how are we approaching this transformation of our company? How are we climbing Mount Sustainability? What's the plan? Well, we began where we were in 1994 with this schematic. As our company, its people, its processes, its capital, its values at the center. And to one side are the suppliers, and the other side is the marketplace and the customers. And the suppliers are dependent on the Earth's crust, the lithosphere, for organic and inorganic materials, for our raw materials that become our products, and our processes are connected to the Earth's biosphere by the waste and emission streams. Some of the raw material is natural, coming from the biosphere, but most of it ends up as waste going to a landfill, and we're connected to the community too, those linkages, people, wages, laws, taxes, investments, and dividends. I submit that's the typical company of the 20th century. It defines your company as well as mine. You can find yourself there in any kind of organization, the linear processes of the industrial system, taking, making, wasting, and driving the whole thing with fossil fuels. We asked ourselves in 1994, what's wrong with this picture? And out of that analysis came a plan in terms of climbing the 7 faces of Mount Sustainability to meet at the top that zero impact or zero footprint. The first face of the mountain, is to eliminate waste, to put an X on an unwanted linkage, that linkage to the biosphere. QUEST stands for quality utilizing employees' suggestions and teamwork. We set out to eliminate waste, and in the process, over the years, have paid for this entire venture through that waste elimination effort. There's the whole plan: eliminate waste through QUEST, benign emissions, to be sure whatever we do emit is harmless. That means we must work upstream on the supply inputs to our process. Renewable energy, first reducing energy to that irreducible minimum and then substituting renewable sources for non-renewable. Closing the loop on material flows. The technologies did not exist when we began, and some of them still do not. We continue to pursue the R&D and the commercialization of new technologies every day. Transportation, to be sure that it's resource efficient and ultimately climate neutral. The sensitivity hookup means sensitizing the entire community, our people, our customers, our suppliers, the community, literally the communities from which our people come, to all of the thousands of little things that we can do to move together towards sustainability, creating our own ecosystem around our company. And ultimately, we will be able to redesign commerce itself and begin, rather than selling products, selling the service that the product delivers. In the case of carpets, it's color and texture, comfort underfoot, cleanliness, ambiance, the static electricity control, all the reasons anyone would have carpet. It will be possible someday for our customers to buy the service and leave with us the means of delivering the service, the stuff, so that we can give that stuff, that material, life after life through closed loops. When we get to that last face of the mountain, a lot of X's have accumulated on unwanted linkages. A lot of new linkages are in place, including the solar energy representing renewable energy, the sustainability link at the bottom, closing the loop, and the service component overshadowing products. A natural cycle, natural materials, compostable products, dust to dust. And when we get there, this is what the sustainable company will look like. What are its characteristics? The prototypical company of the 21st century, success on all 7 faces of this mountain climbing adventure. What will it look like? It will be strongly service-oriented, by means of products that deliver service. It will be resource efficient, wasting nothing. It will be cyclical, no more linear take, make, waste processes of the first industrial revolution, driven by renewable energy, minimized and afforded by means of efficiencies first. Strong